Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Besiege. Now, what this is going to be is just going to be more of these creations built on the basic chassis here. And so yeah, first off I'll go over well, that's if I even did a video on the basic chassis. I swear I did, but then again it may have broke or something. But anyway, so this is the basic chassis. If I strip away these top layers of armor plates, then this is the basic engineering chassis. I could have just done that, but I decided to do it from the top because then you don't have all of these squares on it. But anyway, so yeah, this is the basic chassis. There's the starting block. What it is simple. 2x1 wooden blocks, out, 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 and out, and then wheels on them, and then one extra on the end of both, so that it goes 3 wood, 1 starting block, 3 wood again, and then out by 1 again, with steering hinges on either side, which means that there's a total of 5x7. I think this is. So yeah, it's basic 5x7 with wheels, and then with armor plates on the side. So. Yeah, and what these steering, and because it does have the 6 wheels and it has steering on 4 of them, that's the steering. So one of them, well, so it works like that. It works like the Puma armored car. So the wheels sort of pop off if you're not careful, like they have done here. But when you are careful, it does mean that it has a fairly decent turning circle for such a strange vehicle. It does mean that it's rather mobile, and the great thing about it is that you can flip it. It'll flip once, go on the ceiling, and it'll run. And it has basic arrow key controls, up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, and if I drive off, flips once onto the floor perfectly fine. Usually, sometimes it does that where one of the wheels just breaks off because it hasn't been braced or anything. It does hold together fairly well with just with just wood, but yeah. So yeah, that's the basic vehicle, and various modifications have been done to it. This was the crop cutter for one of the I think Ypsilon is the levels that I'm thinking of. But yeah, so this was just a modification for it. What it does is it just stretches across 3 circular saws, and what happens is that you start it, the circular saws go and they cut off the crops. It's a crop cutter, as I have labelled it. But yeah, but it does make a fairly decent killing weapon. As you can see, it just mows people down. Yeah, so everyone's dead. It is fairly unstable, which is why it does have braces on it, in order to make it slightly better. But yeah, sheep, dead. I think my wheel ran that one over, but still, it does mean that it has slightly reduced mobility because they sort of stick out everywhere, which means that it is a very, very lengthy vehicle, which the original wasn't. But still, covered in armor plates to for extra protection because. Engineer. And yeah, so that's that. Then I created, well actually let's leave that, let's move on to, where is it? This one. Because for some of the early levels I needed something that could lob a grenade. So I simply built a big pillar upwards with a hinge and some, what are these? Elastic. They're basically elastic bands, and what happens is that you press L because that's the default key, and it throws the bomb. Usually doesn't break, usually doesn't explode on itself, but yeah, in that case it did. You sort of have to wait for it. There you go, and then holding down L, there you go, off it goes. Bomb is dropped. Then once you've done that, you can press J. Off it goes. You've now dumped the excess baggage, and you can now get away from the scene of the crime. And yeah, once it's like this. Just by itself here, it can still flip over once, drive on the roof, and it'll be perfectly fine. And once again, it keeps the original steering, and it keeps all of the original metal plates. And flip over once, and it lands on the floor, and you can drive off again. It's a very, very nice basic chassis, which is why I created it. And of course, the pillar is defended with metal plates because for those levels where there are archers, this is a very useful design to have. However, the actual throwing arm isn't covered in plates because otherwise it would be too heavy, I found, and therefore wouldn't actually be able to be pulled up, and this whole thing would just be pulled over. And so yeah, these are just decouplers. Pressing J, which is the default key, will just break the decouplers and they'll just fall off, and it's just a easy method of just removing the throwing arm. And then I wanted something. There you go. I needed 2 bombs because 1 bomb just wasn't enough for the level. I needed 2, so I simply mirrored it basically. I just copied it block for block. It is exactly the same, however, these elastics have been mapped to the R key. You do have to be careful with these because the bombs do jiggle around. They aren't actually held in with anything other than just gravity in there. So you do have to be careful because you can wobble around here. But once again, the steering has been kept exactly the same. Pressing L launches the first one. Over it goes. Bang. The tower has now been partially collapsed. Holding down R throws the other bomb. Then, once again, get away from the scene of the crime, dump the excess baggage, and you can drive off. For some reason that little bit is left on, but that's simply because the wood broke, as you can see, so the decoupler didn't exactly decouple properly. But under normal circumstances it would break. Off that goes. That one was exploded. Quick, dump. Oh, there you go. No, I didn't get away in time. My entire machine is burning. It's only made of wood, which is a real problem with the bombs. You do have to be careful, and you may have to retry several times. But yeah, so that was that. Then you got this thing, because when bombs just aren't enough, use fireballs. So yeah, elongated the arms to accommodate 4 fireballs. Added in a couple more elastic. And stretch that elastic further away. But other than that, exactly the same design. Holding L, off it goes. The arms do tend to break when they get up there, but that's only after you've actually thrown the fireballs. And once again, pressing J, you will dump the excess baggage. There you go. The wood did break that time, but it also left the machine. And then you can just drive off again as if nothing has happened. So, yeah, there's that. Just a simple little fireball thrower. Then there's this thing, which is a simple flak car. And if you put on infinite ammo, then what that does is, with the new addition of the camera blocks in this version, what I've done is pressing F, you do have this one. I've now started updating my designs to have these guide cameras, so they will keep in line with the machine, but this was originally designed for the unlimited cannons mod, where you could make it so that there would be no knockback force, but yet the cannonballs would still fly far, and you would obviously have infinite ammo. However, with the new Infinite Ammo God Mode tool, you don't really need that. So, pressing F again, you'll go into a first-person view. And it's simple arrow keys controls for the actual base vehicle. However, for the turret, 4 and 6 will rotate with a steering block. And the steering block has been set up to max speed, which is 2, I think. And then 8 and 2 will lower and raise the quad cannons. And what I've actually done here is this is another hinge, and what this hinge does is it allows the camera to move up and down with the cannons. So if I press F again to get into third person again, then there you go, and yeah, you can just shoot off your flak cannons. You have to be careful though, because you can't fire them too low, otherwise they'll just knock into each other like so, which is a problem. However, you once again rotating, moving them up, off they fire, and you can just spam them, but yeah, the vehicle sort of tips over if you do that. Then again, using the force, use the force, Luke, you can bring yourself back over. So it's just advised to not ultimately spam it. You can just, shoot them a couple at a time. There you go. However, the only problem with this first-person view is that these metal plates, if you go back too far, they will stop the hinge from going back any further, as you can see, so that when you go forwards, the first-person camera isn't aligned with it, but you can simply do that and then realign it. But yeah, that's just a problem with me fitting armor plates everywhere, because military. But yeah, so that was the flak vehicle version. Just added some bracing struts to deal with the extra recoil and force from the cannons, and everything's been sort of braced up. Just yeah, but still, that was the flak car design. I am very happy with this design. As you can see, infinite cannonballs everywhere. But yeah, so there was that one. Then let me have a look. These are all of the mini Star Wars builds. These are some things for the water mod, which I can't get to work. Then there's this thing, which is just a tiny wee little chassis, and it doesn't have quad steering. Actually, no, yes it does. I have kept the quad steering, but it's just miniaturized as much as possible in vanilla game. It obviously has got the armor plates everywhere, so that it's still militarized, but the wheels have been set to 2 times speed. It does have a habit of doing that, but even if it does flip over, yeah, it can still drive perfectly fine, so there you go. So even if you hold forwards, or backwards in this case, even if you do keep holding that, then it will still keep going forwards. There you go. Let me just get out of here. Well, that is a problem though, because if I show you the underneath, they are literally just hinges on a central frame. And the reason that these are not wood and they're actually ballast is the ballast has been set up to the maximum weight to try and stop it from rolling over, but yet the force from these wheels, which are just, yeah, they're just all the way up speed, so they've been max speeded out. However, it goes too fast if you're not careful, and it sort of just keeps flipping over. Which is why these ballasts were in place, but you can only have so many ballasts and keep it small and nimble, so yeah, and you can't change the starting block, so unfortunately you'll just have to deal with it flipping over. But if you simply brake hard, it'll flip back over to the metal plates if you're getting shot at or if there's fire involved. And that was one of the other reasons for the ballast. It was to stop fire, really, so the thing doesn't catch fire. If you go too close to a bomb or something, it'll just sort of explode. But yeah, so there was that one. Actually, here's a thing. I created a version of it that hovers, and the way that you make hover machines in Besiege is that you just get loads of balloons, and these balloons have been maxed out in buoyancy, because you really do need that, especially with all the armor plates that I've got on this. But what you do is cogs. Cogs are actually very low friction, and if you have got loads of balloons, even with this much armor plating, which does add a lot of weight, and the wood, which is not a particularly light thing. I suppose it's one of the lightest blocks, but even so. Even with the armor plates, having this many balloons on it, that is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 balloons, and these cogs just act as a hover mechanism. And these are flying blocks, and by holding O, your machine will hover. And it's a very quick machine. It's faster than any wheel. As you can see, it slips and slides everywhere. However, the only problem is going backwards, because unfortunately, without wheels, you're sort of stuck here now, because if you can't get out, you have to restart, which is a problem. As you can see, I cannot get out of here now without breaking the machine. But yeah, it's just cogs and ballast. It does keep the quad steering, as you can see, and there are flying blocks on each of the turning points so that it does actually turn, because otherwise it would just glide forward. So this helps with the turning, and it does have decent turning, really. That bomb is so close, I don't like it. Oh, we're out. But yeah, this is a basic hover machine. Yeah, it's very quick. The balloons do tend to pop, and yeah, that's a problem. But even without the balloons, you can still glide along fairly easily. And it also does have first-person view. Here's the inline view, so that you can follow it as it flies around. But then there's this first-person view, where you can just, yeah, first-person. It flies. But then something like this happens, and you sort of die. There's a dead sheep. Oh dear. But yeah, so that was a basic hover machine that I made, which it does work fairly well. And I think, is there a... There you go. This thing. I was trying to make a hover vehicle, but using blades, but whilst it sort of hovers, it sort of spins out of control and stops hovering. As you can see, it starts losing control here, and it just crashes and burns. So, yeah. And then once it's on the ground, it sort of just does whatever it wants. So, yeah, this thing was a failure, but then the other hovering one did work. I wanted this one to just be properly off the ground, but I just couldn't fix that turning. That turning was just far too much. But, yes, there was that, and that is a really failed design. Then we get onto things like this, which is a steam-powered version, and what it is it's flamethrowers with loads of water cannons, and all the water cannons have been set to Y, and all of the flamethrowers have been set to Y, at least the ones that are facing backwards, as you can see. So, yeah, these are all... There you go. So let's actually boost up the range here, because I want to get the range up on these things. There you go, just so that all the water cannons are actually being powered. But yeah, the only problem with building it onto the chassis here was that the chassis was made of wood, and these flamethrowers actually go into these blocks, and the problem with wood and flame, you can see where it was. So instead I just replaced them all with pistons, which does make for a very odd looking car if you press H. It sort of does that, and it sort of stops working if you do that, because it's just a massively elongated thing. But if you can avoid pressing H, what it is instead is a fairly neat car. As you can see, it works. I shouldn't have changed those flamethrower ranges. Let's turn it back down to 1.0, because I think that was just... It made it go into a more concentrated cone to get the better range, which meant that some of those were not being powered. But yeah, if I do that, as you can see, it is pretty fast, and it can climb up hills alright, so long as... I mean, that's a fairly steep incline, really, and the fact they managed to do that was fairly impressive. But yeah, it doesn't do well to that happening, and you can burn the wheels. And these wheels are unpowered wheels, because otherwise it'd be cheating, because you'd use your forwards, backwards, left, right keys, and that'd be cheating. That would just be a normal car instead of a steam-powered one. But let me actually rotate it here, so that we don't keep going up the slope, because, yeah. But if you do happen to... well, first of all, actually, you really need infinite ammo for this one, definitely, because otherwise your flamethrowers will run out, because they only have 10 seconds of fuel in them. Water cannons keep going forever, however flamethrowers don't, so you really do need infinite ammo in order to use this car, which means you can't complete levels with it. But then again, why would you even want to try and complete a level in this? You could only probably beat the first level of the first island. Other than that, they all need like explosives or something, or you need more than 10 seconds to complete them. So yeah, the steam car isn't very practical. However, it is practical for having a nice drive, because you've got the inline view. So yeah, we set off and off we go, and as you can see, it's a decent car. It doesn't go as fast as you may want it to go. You may want it to be a speed demon, a steam demon. No, a speed demon, but as you can see, it doesn't really do that. However, it does go along at a comfortable speed. Yeah, sure, it may be on the slow side, but it turns alright. It does keep the quad turning. But if you need to go backwards because you've sort of ran into a wall and you can't get away, what you do is you disengage the Y key. Watch the guys fall to their death, then press B. That activates your reverse, and I labelled it B for backwards. So, as you can see, it does go backwards fairly well. And then pressing B again will stop it, and then pressing Y engages the main thrusters, and off you go, and it's fairly speedy. But yeah, as you saw, it does actually have a first-person view, which is this. It isn't much, but it does look cool with the steam cannons. However, when you engage reverse, all you see is that. But then again, if you're engaged in reverse and you're in first person, then you shouldn't really be in that. You should be in this. So yeah, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, so it's a steam car. I am very proud of the steam car. It took me a while to build this thing. Explosions. But yeah, once again, still covered in metal plates, and not made of wood to avoid burning. The only things that are wood are the wheels, but if your wheels are catching fire, then that's a sign that you're turning too hard, and you should probably stop. So yeah, there was that steam car. Then, the next thing, with the new additions of the rockets, I created a rocket-powered car, because why not? However, even if you do have infinite ammo on, when you press T, off it goes. And when it runs out of fuel, it runs out of fuel. There's nothing that can stop that. As you'll see, eventually, we'll run out. There you go. So we've just ran out of rocket fuel, which means that infinite ammo doesn't work. But as you saw, it does tend to want to push forwards because of the thrust of, I think, these middle rockets. With all these rockets that I have here, they're simple rockets mounted on grippers. Because, well, they're not grippers, what are they? What's the technical term for them? It's under mechanical. They're grabbers, yes, because they grab things. But yes, because rockets themselves don't actually attach to anything, they just sort of roll around. You need to build them 2 blocks high and have a grabber underneath, so that as soon as you start, they'll drop down and grip the grabbers. And you don't have to adjust them. However, you can adjust these, and so what I did, flight duration all the way up, thrust all the way up, explosive charge to nil, because you don't want your car exploding afterwards, after you're done with it, or after it's ran out of fuel, so yeah. Although you may want to, I don't know, it's up to you. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, infinite ammo doesn't work, but where these rockets are placed, they're just simply placed on every block that's wood that I could use. Can't put one here because it's these rockets are in the way. Can't put one there because, once again, these rockets are in the way. So yeah, I try to use as much space as possible, and I think this is really the perfect amount of rockets, because otherwise any more and you'd end up being very dangerous to, or being very close to flipping the actual vehicle. More armor plates. Yes, that's what we need, more armor plates. Well, I could only fit that one on, but still, one more armor plate. Wonderful. But, yeah. Like you saw, it's very close to tipping forwards, if I just decrease the speed to 44%, really. So you can see, these wheels are basically off the ground. So you can see, it does tip dangerously forwards. And these are unpowered wheels, because having powered wheels would mean that you were an actual car. And okay, that happened. So yeah, having wheels would mean that you're an actual car, and we can't have that. So once again, they're just the non-powered wheels. But yeah, once again, very happy with the rocket-powered car, even if you can't run it forever like the steam car. Then we get onto these things, which are 2 of the best things ever. First of all, you've got this. It's a rocket launcher. So, or actually, let me first show the. There you go. So there's the first-person view. So you're next to 2 different rockets, and if I press T and don't talk, you'll see how loud it is. So yeah, that's how loud it is when you're in first person. And as you can see, if you do crash into something, you can't stop them. Once you start the rockets, they're going forever, because they are under the weapons category. So unlike water cannons or flamethrowers, you can't stop and start them at your pleasure. You can only start them, let them run, that's it. You have no more say once you've set them off, like real rockets. But yeah, so it's very loud there, and then you also have the follow view, so that you can just follow the car, and that's that for the rocket-powered car. And let me first show you this. It's something that my friend came up with over Skype, because I was like, I'm playing Besiege, what do you think I should build? And then he was like, suicide bomber. So I was like, okay, how should I do this? So I took my original design, replaced the entire thing with decouplers, mounted as many spikes and sharp objects and explosives as I could on it, and yeah, what happens is that you do this, you press J, and it sort of explodes, is the idea. Let's try that again. It didn't work. But yeah, if you keep on driving, there you go. Sudden explosion is sudden. Look at all the spikes and spiky things. Oh, something fell. Decouple. Explode. Yeah. There you go. I really wanted to blow up that tower. It's not letting me. Damn it, it keeps falling off. Still, there's the explosion. There's the massive crater, would be. So, yeah, this is just a thing. Something my friend came up with. So, yeah, there's that. But now, this is the thing that you've all been looking at. It's the rocket launcher. And this has got two views once again. It's got the follow view and it's also got the sight view. So, what it is, it's a row of rockets on grippers, with two rockets on the side there on this turret, which I hastily built on the back of my original machine. Then just three front-mounted rockets. The rockets are fired with numbers 1 through to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for up here, 6, 7 and 8 at the front. Left, right, so the L and R keys fire those side ones, and they all explode in different colours. I made sure to do that. So all of the cars travel with arrow keys. All of the turrets work with 4, 6, 8 and 2 on the number pad. So yeah, here's the basic follow view. Yeah, it just follows you around, which is something that Besiege was lacking for ages. But if you press F again, because F is the default change views, pressing F will bring you to this, and this is how you fire it. You can raise and lower it. As you can see, 8 and 2, lower it and raise it. Whoops, that broke. But these are set at just the correct distance to explode on impact with that tower. So if I fire 1, bang, straight in, collapse the tower slightly. Fire 2, bang, straight in, collapse the tower. Fire 3, straight into the tower. Fire 4, fire 5. Left, right, off they go. And once you're done with that, you can drive your machine as normal. If you meet somebody else that you don't like, such as this one remaining knight, fire 6, fire 7, fire 8. Off they go, all in different colours. And so, yeah, you can change these rockets. The flight duration has been set to the minimum, because that was the exact distance needed to get from here, the spawn starting location on sandbox mode, to get to the tower. Obviously, when I do eventually upload this to the workshop, you can adjust it at your will to complete whatever level you want. And just to prove that you can use this to complete the levels, here you go. The cameras don't actually count as building outside the box because they're automatically put there. But yeah, so you can use all of these machines to complete whatever sections you want. So yeah, there was the rocket launcher, which is fun. Now you've got this, and this is something that I made today. Today being the 9th of April. Have to check the date. So yeah, this is the 9th of April. And this thing is basically a Gatling cannon. I did want it to be lit by fire down the bottom, but then I just found that too much hassle. So instead, this thing just spins constantly, and obviously obviously what you need is infinite ammo. So once again, regular arrow keys, controls. However, after that, because it generates a lot of recoil, it's basically the flat car except tank destroyer mode. So this does have a really cool first-person view, just so you know. But the way that you stabilize this is that these things are grippers mounted on pistons, which are just on, I don't know what you call this, sort of like scorpion legs. And you've got 4 of them. So pressing H, down it goes. And the grippers, no, they are grabbers. The grabbers have been set to grab static, which means that they will actually stick to the ground, which is something that they're not originally designed to do. So pressing F, there you go. That was a little teaser of what it looks like in first person. But pressing F, this is the follow camera. Obviously, you can drag it around, but as soon as you let go of the click, it will reset to that. Then you got this, and this is first person. So yeah, the reason that you stabilize it with those arms is because of this. You just spam C and hope they hit something. As you can see, the thrust isn't good enough to get to them. Let's put it all the way up. Maximum power. Their cruisers cannot repel fire of this magnitude. Yeah. So in here, what you've got is you've got a spinning block. It just constantly spins. It's been set up to the maximum spin, which is 2.0. Then what you've got is obviously armor plates all around, but then what you've got is 4 cannons mounted on that. I did want to have more of them around the side, but then I couldn't actually mount them otherwise. So yeah, that sort of can't work. But instead, there's just sort of this contraption built out to the side. Lots and lots of braces because of A, the recoil of firing the cannons, and also B, because of this spinning motion. So yeah, it's just the ultimate killing thing. As you can see, it's rather rear heavy now, but deploy. Fire. Oh my god, it shook itself to pieces. It couldn't handle it. It's over there. Bye. It's over there somewhere. Just look for the stream of cannonballs. Oh, there it goes. Bye. Wow, okay. Deploy. Wow, a brace just flew off right then. Oh my god, it literally shakes itself to pieces. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's too much power. That's just too much power. Oh my god. Let's see that one more time. Let's just slow this down. There you go. So it's 14% speed. Let's speed it up to 25. There you go. So as you can see, these things spin very rapidly. And, well, it's been deployed. That's a lot of recoil. Look at the whole machine just bouncing. Oh, the braces have all gone. Oh dear. And off it goes. Bye. It's just a rocket now. Bye. Bye. Oh my god. Too much power. Well. Yeah, there's that. Let's reset that power, shall we? Let's just no, let's just load that. There you go. Those are now being reset to default power. So yeah, this is the just most craziest thing that I've yet to make on this basic chassis, and to think that designs like this came from a simple 5x7 just flat 6-wheeled machine, and yet things like this have happened. The spread is massive, and the recoil is just crazy. But look at this. Look how amazing this first-person thing is. Cameras are like the best thing. They're just slowly getting a wall of cannonballs to protect themselves. Alright, let's... oh yeah, by the way, once you've deployed it, you can undeploy it, just so that you don't think, oh no, I've deployed it. What on earth shall I do? I can't move it now, it's just a static emplacement forever. Because you can't raise or lower the cannons, all you can do is fire them, which in and of itself is fine. So yeah, if you need to relocate it and you've deployed it like so, simply pressing V, because you don't have to hold down H. You can press H once, and then as soon as you hear the as they grip, then you can just release H, and it'll just do that. If you press V, they'll all let go, and you can drive off. So let's drive close to them, but not too close. Press H again. You're now redeployed. Tactical first person. Minigun of death. Yeah, they're mostly dead. I got some headshots, I think. Yeah, I got 2 headshots with that volley. Well, the multiple volleys. Yeah, the reason for the spread is because these things are all just turning massively. Yeah. Once again, you do need infinite ammo, but so that was my basic chassis and all of the variants of it that I've made. I don't think I've left out anything. Oh no, this one. It's just to test out the new drills when they were introduced. I mean, that's all it does. It's just drills everywhere that I could put on them. It does have a very cool effect when you're driving. It's just loads of spinning things. Just seems impending doom, but you can't really turn it too far, otherwise the whole thing just breaks itself. Even now it's sort of breaking. But it does kill things fairly effectively. However, the only problem with the drills is that this tower right here, you can't use drills to destroy this tower, because this tower is built out of a different block as the ones on the second island, which means that only on the second island will drills destroy these blocks. As you can see, if I drive into this into this stone, it does nothing. If I was to drive into one of the other levels with stones, it would work. However, yeah, it's just a thing that they may or may not change. Sheep, dead. But yeah, don't turn too hard, otherwise this will happen. And yeah, now you just sort of bounce around because of the front and rear mounted drills. They just sort of bounce you around. You can't really do anything. You only have 2 wheels left. If you're lucky, you can break off all 6. There you go. I've broken off all but 1. So yeah, but that was my basic chassis and all of the variants that I've come up with since the new introduction of rockets and cameras. So yeah, that is definitely... I can probably delete that one now. There you go. But yeah, that's all of the things. Yeah, that's all of them. I suppose one last thing that I could show. Once I deleted that, there you go. One last thing that I could show is this. And what it is just I was trying to make something out of cogs, because cogs are just so awesome, especially when you have some sort of elaborate machine made out of cogs. So I wanted something which could fly using cogs, however it doesn't really work. If I just let this thing run, you'll see why it doesn't work. It just sort of goes crazy and then crashes. It's also very laggy. So if I lower this to 75%, there you go. So these things aren't automatically moving. These are basically powered cogs. They're like wheels except cogs. You can actually change it to automatic, which is what I'll do. There you go, that's everything. Right. So let's see how this works. It doesn't. It sort of shakes itself to pieces. It doesn't have enough power to get off the ground, and if it does, it's like the attempted hover machine that I tried with the 2 propellers underneath. It sort of just spins itself to its death. it's stable for the first part of the flight, but then as soon as it starts listing to one side, that's it, it's all over. Tried making it out of pistons because I can't quite remember why, but pistons it was. And yeah, this is not working. So yeah, that's another failed thing that I tried making out of this, where it all started. The most basic of all basic chassis that I could think of, and it led to all of these things. It's rather quite nice. But yeah, so that was everything that I've made so far. I'm sure that when I make some more things, I will update. But yeah, so that was all of the things built from one chassis. And I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.